N'Zoth's secret project is insane. Xal'atath tried to stop it. What the hell was N'Zoth up to? Obviously not something that was going to kill the planet, because we know N'Zoth wanted to keep it alive and Xal'atath wanted to destroy it. Let's see what N'Zoth was up to. The ultimate planner of planners, the schemer of schemers.
Did you ever wonder why the old gods are so different compared to any other void being we could previously see? Well, something absolutely crazy is going on as we learn there is so much unknown history between the old gods and the void lords that is currently being revealed in the new patch. Old gods realize they now control the most powerful source in the universe, Azeroth's world soul, and why would they just give it away to their masters when they can build their own Black Empire? N'Zoth started building something in Islota, and for this, Xal'atath attacked with her pure void army, but she was no match for the newly empowered old god force. Now, check this out. Islota is known as the Dreaming City, also the Sunken City. Guess who is dreaming? Azeroth. Guess who doesn't want to wake her up? It is also possible that the Sunken City is literally sunken under Khazar, and that N'Zoth built something that gave these old guys empowered forms. Old gods beat the Void Army and Xal'atath, but the Titans...
It's crazy that the old gods fought against the Void Army. Like, this is canonized lore now, and basically what it means is the old gods turned against their masters, because the old gods were basically like that preparatory virus. It was sent out to weaken the planet and prepare the planet to be devoured, and they were like, nope, actually we kind of like it here. We don't want to destroy this planet, so we're going to prepare an army to do the exact opposite. Instead of weakening Azeroth, we're going to strengthen Azeroth against you. So when Xal'atath shows up, we're going to beat her off and beat her back. Now, what did I just say? I don't know. But the thing is, they went against their protocol. They went against what their design was. And I said a theory just the other day that I'm starting to think more and more is correct. Azeroth has been proven to be able to kind of corrupt or, infest the mind of creatures, the denizens of Azeroth, the closer they get to her, right? We've seen it with the Thragar, which were the Earthen, that were essentially, corrupted in a way by Azeroth to do Azeroth's bidding, to kind of side with Azeroth against the Titans. Why couldn't the same have been said for the old gods, right? The old gods were digging deeper. The sunken city, Ny'alotha, all of that was deep in the ground, which means they were closer to the world soul. What if Azeroth had corrupted the old gods in a way to defend her rather than destroy her? That's what happened, and that's what I'm thinking we're going to find out, is that the old gods may be on our side when it comes to protecting Azeroth. Or may have been. They're kind of dead now.
Stop the Black Empire, and now the Void is coming back for their prize, and Xal'atath is going to finish the job that she was supposed to all those years ago. Playing WoW on your phone is actually possible with Awesome, this video's sponsor. You can check in on your characters, do the simple tasks that you just don't want to sit at a computer for, and it allows you to control your phone completely free. Awesome is incredibly easy to use. Check out my link in the description, download the PC app and the phone app, and just connect it. The free version itself is amazing. You can control your desktop, transfer files, but the real deal is the game version. It has custom keyboards for various games other than just WoW, and you can enjoy AFK gaming at any time, anywhere with game sound. Make sure to use my code DORON to get 7 days completely free, only for the first 200 people. Start remote gaming, as they got hot sales with up to 40% off on pro and game versions.
That's right, Cadence.
Awesome. Just as it was foreshadowed back in Legion with Xal'atath constantly having these cheeky comments about the old gods and how stupid they are, we finally learned what really happened between them.
I love how she talks about how dumb they are, and she got outplayed by them. She did. She got outplayed. These fleshy versions of the Void guys were much stronger than her own little Voidy boys. Interestingly enough, we're basically the same thing, but Titan side creations of it, right? So basically the old gods created this tentacle fleshy army, which was a variation on the Void army guys that Xal'atath had. So basically they had these tentacle boys variations, Curse of Flesh variations of the Void. And what are humans, gnomes, dwarves, and they are fleshy cursed Titan variations of Titan creations, I should say.
And
variations of Titan creations.
Who she truly is. However, in 11.1.7...
So the Curse of Flesh is a buff. That's what I'm trying to get at.
New cinematic, they just foreshadowed something absolutely gigantic that kind of changes pretty much all the Black Empire lore that we've known so far, and it involves Ny'alotha and our fabled N'Zoth. So, for you that have been following the intricacies and more obscure interviews, you might remember that about 2-3 years back during Dragonfight, when we first got the new whisper from the Zod, we were told that everything we have known about the Old Gods may be a lie and that a big betrayal happened. Old God lore has really been shifting since they were added to the game. Back in the day, we were told these guys were more powerful than Sargeras, and then the Chronicle just put them as mere tools that the Void Lords sort of sent randomly across a whole bunch of planets in order to check if they have World Soul, and if they do, to corrupt them and to create a so-called Void Titan. Keep in mind, this is Chronicle lore, so this is Titan perspective lore. Looks like that has in a way been true. It is sort of a half-lie, but the interview from a few years back told us that Old Gods are chaotic beings. They are not like the Titans, they don't follow strict hierarchies, and that it is very likely that they had already rebelled against their creators and did something entirely different. Now, that has essentially been actually soft confirmed in the game.
Yeah, I mean, all this stuff that's happening here, the conversation with Xal'atath, Yasharaj is here, which means that we haven't had Aman'Thul show up and rip him out of the planet yet. Like, none of that has happened yet in this when we're witnessing this event here with Lore Walker Cho. So it's the whole thing about, you know, the Old Gods infecting the planet and ruining Azeroth already. It's basically confirmed that that's not really what they were doing. They were just trying to preserve their Black Empire planet, and they didn't want the Void to come destroy it. So Aman'Thul coming and ripping Yasharaj out of the planet was kind of hurting Azeroth in a way, actually. It physically hurt her, too, because that's where we got the giant freaking well, the Maelstrom in the middle of the planet. That's the leftover of that whole event. So the Old Gods were helping the planet more than the Titans were.
I think Blizzard decided to go a different way about it, and let me really quickly explain how. So, the interview back in the day told us that the Void is naturally chaotic, that they just rebel, but then again, I mean, we've seen Old God minions all over the place. They do seem to follow orders and pretty strict hierarchies, so this doesn't really check out, and it doesn't really make much sense. The very likely new theory that I think Blizzard kind of added halfway through is the entire influence of Azeroth as the World Soul. Now, I've talked about this,
yes,
I've made videos about this months ago, so it's a super...
Thank you for the bits, Ram. I appreciate that, man. Here's the Old Gods frowning upon some shit DK named Samiccus pretending. I thought you were about to say something fucking factual. Damn it, Robin, I fucking read that shit. What I was about to say was, it looks like Doran's about to go down the same theory path that I was just talking about.
Long topic to cover, but
and no, I don't pre-watch this shit
so,
before you guys start fucking saying that.
Azeroth is a neutral elemental energy thing. It's definitely not a Titan. The Titans have built a prison over it. We've seen it. There is an entire mechanism over it called the Manifold to empower the World Core, which is like a giant Titan chamber over Azeroth's soul. Now, the beings of order do in fact follow hierarchies. They're robot-like. They're as close to computers as you can get, and we've recently started learning of a whole bunch of different rebellions that the Titans didn't want us to know about. They got so bad, they built a giant robot to destroy everyone in Khazlagar. There is one in Evaloran where they literally separated themselves from the Titans and rebelled, and these guys sent multiple expeditions, and they defeated the Keepers, and even we have seen multiple rebellions in Khazlagar. Khazlagar Earthen were sent to build this World Core prison, and those that got close started being turned into crystals, and instead of building...
The Thragar, that's right, the Thragar, the crystallized versions of Earthen, which were basically, they had gotten too close to Azeroth, and she kind of corrupted them in a way, or turned them onto her team.
They started destroying the facilities. Then from the journals, we had seen the Earthens suddenly started to question things. Why are they forcing us to work? What did we get out of it? They all started hearing... They
started to get free will. That's what this whole thing is about. The Old Gods are really the gifters of free will. That's what they've been this entire time, and that's why, yes, some people in the chat were saying it's not the curse of flesh, it's the gift of flesh. Essentially, I mean, if you see free will as a positive, which the Titans don't, but most denizens prefer to have free will, yeah, free will was a gift from the Old Gods. It was the gift of flesh.
Azeroth's voice all of a sudden, especially as they got...
And it's very possible that the Old Gods got their free will from Azeroth.
Deeper below. So all this confirms that Azeroth seems to really be like a progenitor of free will on the planet. Based on this still more, it's likely that the entire curse of flesh in Northrend from Wrath of the Lich King that created like half the playable races we've learned about wasn't really even just Yogg-Saron, but very likely Azeroth as well. Now, we have just learned something even crazier in 11.1.7. If you guys followed my channel, you can find the video where I talked about this months ago, but I really do still believe that Azeroth has actually defeated the Old Gods in a way. And not just them, but pretty much everyone that has tried to force
So basically, this entire scene now is us completely fucking up. That's what this is, right? We basically Zalateth. Hey, there she is. Well, her dagger, at least the thing that she was in this entire time. This is what Zalateth would have wanted. We're going through the planet, killing off the old gods. We're basically doing not only what Zalateth wanted, but what the Titans wanted, because the old gods were, I mean, they're basically protecting the planet. Right, they almost became like Azeroth's immune system, I guess you could say. Where like they were essentially something that was meant to, corrupt her, but they ended up doing it in reverse, where she kind of brought them to her side. So by us killing N'Zoth, we've essentially killed off one of the protectors of Azeroth.
convert her so
We done
far. As you
fucked
can
up.
see, no one has successfully done it yet, despite hundreds of thousands
Third theory,
of
everyone
years
is
of
lying.
invasions
It's
from
an
all
nasty
these
divorce.
crazy, powerful cosmological guys. Azeroth may have played her voice and got the old gods to realize that converting Azeroth and finishing the job means that this is the end for them and it is pointless, and instead they can just rule themselves. I mean, it
Right.
is after all basic logic. If Azeroth is the most powerful source in existence and the old gods have their tentacles on it, why should they just submit and give this power to the Void Lords, who just see them as mere tools? In fact, Azeroth may have helped them defeat the Void Lords. This is not just a speculation, we have
think
new
this is true.
cinematics and information from the PTR, so it is supported by evidence. So we've learned that N'Zoth apparently started building something that he shouldn't have in Nilota, and for this, Zalateth decided to attack him. N'Zoth then calls all the old gods, summons them to imprison Zalateth inside the blade as they manage to defeat her. We do learn something crazy interesting though. Zalateth appears, and I know this might just be a placeholder model of course, but she appears as a pure void being. It is in fact confirmed by
Right.
dialogue that she's leading a pure void army in this attack. However, the old gods say her void army is no match for their empowered forms. Keep in mind, empowered forms, this literally sounds like a reversed Curse of Flesh, or what happens when Azeroth starts impacting void beings.
Right.
Even more mind-blowing than this, despite us knowing that old gods do exist on different planets, we had never actually seen them in person or in any art. What if the old gods are actually
Kinda
just
true.
like Zalateth? In fact, it would be
I
more
mean, if old gods ever did exist on like ancient Draenor or even Koresh, right, the planet of the Ethereals, they would have been destroyed when the planet was destroyed. So it's totally viable that yes, the old gods decided, hey, we don't want this planet, we don't want to die, right? Because to me, if Demancius shows up and destroys Azeroth completely, the old gods die with it. So it totally makes sense that Azeroth was able to convince them, like, hey, do you really want to die so this guy can eat me or corrupt me or whatever, or eat me out? Who knows what he wanted to do? You don't want to die for that. Why don't we work together to ensure the survivability of both of us? And while you're at it, these little Titan guys running around, why don't you corrupt them for me? Yeah, give them a little curse of flesh. Hey, how's it going, humans? Yeah, all that shit went down, I think, and it was all part of a concerted effort by Azeroth.
likely.
To survive.
All void beings we have seen so far look like void beings, yet the old gods are so different. Tentacles, eyes, flesh, all these weird humanoid features that don't really resemble void beings. What if the old gods that we know are already empowered by Azeroth, by the curse of flesh, and this is what makes them even more powerful and why they were able to defeat Zalateth? Interesting
Right.
enough, the old gods talk as if Zalateth betrayed them, but by all accounts, it seems like Zalateth is the true loyalist to their master, the Void Lords. I
Yeah.
personally think old gods rebelled, they built their own empire. I mean, think about it, it has been evident from the start. Old gods are supposed to just convert Azeroth, not build cities and empires and conquer territory. Why are they building all these cities when they were just supposed to pump up Azeroth with the Void? I think Zalateth was sent to get them back in line. She played along with them for a little bit, and then when she found out N'Zoth was building something in Nilota, she attacked, and this brings us to the main question of this video.
Agreed.
What was this guy building? So I've talked about this, about how Nilota may be returning, how it may actually be in Kazakar. Hear me out, I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but do you remember
Yeah,
that Nilota was a
maybe.
place in BFA that we never truly visited? It was an alternate reality, but it obviously existed on Azeroth. It was called the Dreaming, the Waking City, which, if you think about it, it may not actually refer to us dreaming about this reality, but it may be related to Azeroth dreaming and
Azeroth's dream, yeah,
sleeping
maybe.
within this city. Even more interestingly, it was known as the Sunken City, but it wasn't actually sunken when we visited it, so what
All eyes will be opened, right? That was a favorite line of N'Zoth. it's an interesting one when you think about maybe he knew the truth and they were just trying to open our eyes to the truth.
What does this even mean? I've talked about how it is entirely possible that Nilota is actually under Kazakar, in that sea under the sea. There's this void sea where all these void beings live that we still haven't seen, and it was literally sunken under the sea. Kazakar,
we've also seen ruins of like Titan ruins sitting right now being corrupted. I think it's this image. He shows it a little bit right here. Did he? Yeah, well, he's gonna show it at some point. It ends up showing up on the screen. Yeah, right here. Old Titan City corrupted over. Yeah, so I mean, we know the Titans were deep in the planet. It seemed like there was almost like an excavation effort by both sides. The Earthen were digging deep. The old gods were already deep. Everyone's trying to get to the world soul. Maybe the old gods were kind of holding off the Earthen efforts. Maybe that was going down too. And then once they got deep enough, Azeroth was able to convert the Earthen that had gotten deep enough into Thragar to stop them from their continued efforts.
See, Kazakar is the place where Azeroth's world soul, the heart, is, and this was actually confirmed. I mean, this is where the Titans later built their prison over it. Now, seeing that Nilota is called the Dreaming City, it's likely that it was in this place as well. Like, first, old gods built Nilota, then Elune built Eluna here, the world tree here that was ripped out, and then ultimately the Titans built their world core. So it's like one layer on top of the other. However,
right.
I think what N'Zoth built might have been the true and the final nail of their rebellion. Like, they finally told the Void Lords, screw you. They were supposed to awaken Azeroth for the Void Lords, convert her, but he might have built his own mechanism there that would only allow the old gods to influence Azeroth, and it would bar the Void Lords from doing anything. I think the old gods were never going to awaken Azeroth at all. I mean, this is why N'Zoth told us that she will bring only ruin. Like, he knew if she returns, she's going to bring the void that is going to destroy this planet. I think they became more powerful than their masters, and that is why they managed to defeat Xal'atath that the Void Lords sent personally.
Not only did they manage to defeat Xal'atath, what if the entire thing about Sargeras and the Burning Legion and us getting the Curse of Flesh was... So basically Azeroth created this old god, or converted this old god army into an army that would fight for her and defeat Xal'atath. Follow that up in the next chapter with a human / orc / whatever army to defeat the Burning Legion. Right? These are two, existential galactic enemies that have gone from planet to planet and destroyed planet after planet. Both of them showed up here and failed. And they failed against entities that basically Azeroth had converted over to fight for her. Crazy shit, but it all seems to line up at this point.
The block of the
I think we're about to get some big lore reveals.
Expect the Titans to come in and to interfere with the entire process. However, now the true Void is finally coming for their prize after all these years, and Xal'atath is finally going to accomplish what she should have all those hundreds and thousands of years ago. I personally think N'Zoth built something like the Titan prison so that no one could come for it, or it could actually be similar to what Sargeras did to Argus. I mean, do you remember when Sargeras built this machinery over a world soul in order to empower his own army? This might be what gave the old gods and their armies the empowered forms that actually allowed them to defeat Xal'atath and the pure void army that they were previously no match for. Just like also Sargeras empowered himself with fell magic and defeated the pure Titan powers, N'Zoth might have built some sort of machinery that would never awaken Azeroth but would siphon her power and to make themselves more powerful. This is the machinery the Titans hid beyond the waves. This is what they don't want us to know. This is why they first tried to hide it with the World Tree, and ultimately Giant Fissure was created, and then they had to do all this stuff to build their own prison. Looks like things are truly heating up, and we're getting closer to truly unraveling this giant conspiracy. Thanks for watching. Check out the something about this by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on real world history by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.
Look, this lore is shaping up, honestly, to be pretty good, especially for Blizzard, honestly. The way things are lining up, I kind of like what Chris Metzen's cooking up here. And the fact that kind of all these denizens of Azeroth have been on Azeroth's team the entire time, whether it's Void, whether it's Titan, or bless me, Azerothian entities like the trolls and stuff that literally evolved from Azeroth. Really, really cool stuff. Who knows how like Anshe and the moon goddess and all that stuff's going to line up with all this lore too. A lot of sides to still be revealed and come out. I'm sure that stuff will show up in Midnight at some point with all the Elven lore we're going to get. But so far, all of this is pointing towards the last Titan expansion. It's looking pretty damn exciting. Nice video from Dorn.